Hello and welcome to this episode of the Collab podcast from our studios in Clearwater, Florida. I'm Executive Director Christina Baker, and I'm super pumped to share today's guest with you, so let's jump on in. Today we're chatting with Master Barber Tina Sapia.
Hey, how you doing?
Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate it, honestly. I really do.
So how long have you been a master barber?
So, I mean, there's a debate, really, because once you finish school with your Master Barber's license,
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
But the people that have been a Master Barber for a long time would say the more time you're in, the more of a master you become, right?
Sure.
So you're just a barber until you're in at least 10 years plus,
Yeah.
and then you're a Master Barber.
Okay, so how long are you in?
10 years. So I think I
you
made
just
it.
made
I made the I made the cut.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think, anyways.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me where you grew up, because I'm detecting a little bit of an accent.
Yes, I'm from Lawrence, Massachusetts. I've lived in Florida for 20 years, so I mean, I haven't lost the accent probably because my whole family still lives up there.
Yeah.
So I go up every year to see them. But
Okay.
yep, Lawrence, Massachusetts.
Okay, tell me about your childhood.
Childhood, I'm Italian, first born in America, Sicilian actually.
Okay,
Let me
so
correct myself.
your parents were born in Sicily?
Yeah, my whole family, my sister, my brother, father, mom. I'm the only person that was born in
Oh
America,
my
so first
goodness.
generation.
Okay, so you're the baby?
I'm the baby.
All right.
Yep.
Of how many?
3 kids.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're both way older than me.
Okay.
So
Were you the oops?
I was a oopsie daisies. Yep, that was me, oopsie daisies kid. But you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm doing my thing
You
still.
turned out all right.
Turned out pretty all right. But I don't know. Yeah, that was it. Strict childhood.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to do really much of anything. But still was able to do more than my sister did. But just not as much as what my brother did.
Okay. Strict because of your Italian heritage, or strict because of Catholic or religious reasons, or a combination?
Probably all of the above. Because the thing is, yeah, they're Catholic. I'm a girl, and they're very Italian. So my father always put a lot of strict rules, and my mom as well. So couldn't have people stay over. I couldn't sleep over people's houses. We just hung out with our cousins basically.
Yeah.
So anytime we wanted to go out, we had to ask months in advance. and even if we did go out, we'd have to make sure the house was clean. Like at least for me and my sister, anyways.
Yeah. But it was different for your brother.
Yeah, my brother's a boy, so he gets to do whatever he wants to do. Anything under the sun.
How does that make you feel?
A little salty, but I learned to. I love my brother, so
Yeah.
hey, live your life. This is awesome. For you.
Yeah. All right. So, what was high school like for you?
High school was so much fun. Honestly, I loved high school. I loved going to high school, going to school in general, because that was my time to hang out with my friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like at home, I couldn't do anything. I could barely be on the phone. But I ride my bike around the block. But how many times can you do that and have
Yeah,
fun?
you're right.
So when I went to school, I was like, yes,
Party
I can
time.
be myself. I could talk to my friends and chat and do my thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was friends with basically every group in high school.
Cool. Any sports? Music?
Wasn't allowed to do sports.
Okay.
No one could pick me up after school, and they didn't want me
Okay.
riding out with anybody else. So
Okay.
stayed true to the rules here.
All right. What about like music?
Music was my thing.
Okay.
Any chorus or band or anything like that,
So that was allowed.
that was allowed only because it was during school hours. And if anything, if we had a concert, it'd be at night
Yeah.
when they were
And
home.
yeah. And they would go.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they would go. Not a lot, but they would go.
Yeah. Are your parents still living?
Yes. As a matter of fact, they might move down here, and maybe. If my sister moves here by the end of the year, they're definitely moving down. But
Well,
if
that's
not, then they're just
exciting.
going to come visit for a few months.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So after high school, what happened? Did you think about the college route?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there was no doubt I wanted to go to college. The
Awesome.
more time I could spend away, the better.
And did you have the
Yeah.
grades to support that dream?
I actually did. So I went to college. I went to Keene State College in Keene, New Hampshire, and I got into a sorority. I had the best time of my life. I majored in Spanish and business. So I'm just like, okay. And I actually traveled to Spain, lived there for a
Nice.
semester. It was
Wow.
pretty fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
So, I lived my life in college,
Okay. And
but
and then after college.
after college, what I did was I moved out, which is not really a great thing to do as a woman in the Italian culture. You don't move out until you're married.
Mhm.
But I didn't see marriage obviously in my future
Why
for like
obvious?
at that point in time, you know what I mean? Because being me, I knew I was gay. I
Okay.
knew I was a lesbian,
Okay.
but they didn't.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure they assumed because the way I look is how I've always looked, except
Okay.
with long hair.
Okay, so you didn't
So,
try to hide it. You've
mm-mm.
always been you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I never liked
individual.
dresses, never, and none of that.
Yeah.
So I just,
So, but it wasn't talked about at home.
never,
Okay.
never. I went to school and lived my life and
Yeah.
did my thing,
Do they
but
know?
after college, I moved away. They were upset, which was fine with me because I needed to live my life.
Yeah.
So I moved away with my homegirl and I lived in Manchester, New Hampshire for a while, got a job.
So how old were you? Like early 20s?
Yeah, early
Yeah.
20s.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
22,
And
23. But I was obviously 17 or 18 when I went to college, so that
yeah.
I was already gone
Yeah.
and
Okay.
doing my thing, paying
Yeah.
for my own,
Yeah.
type stuff. So then after school I landed this job doing like field marketing for Dunkin's and Pepsi.
Mm.
So with that job, I traveled a
Yeah.
lot to New York. I worked months at a time in New York City. We'd go back and forth, and
Wow.
you
Were
know,
you an independent contractor or an employee?
I worked for a promotions company.
Okay.
So they had big accounts with all these Mountain Dew Vertical Challenge, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I would be doing all those. So I'd
Okay.
be there. So that's how I got to be so like outgoing, like being able to control crowds and stuff. Because we'd go to concerts and stuff, and
Yeah.
just like hand stuff out and promote for them. So
Wow.
it was kind of neat.
I mean, I feel like that is the perfect job for you in
It,
that at that time,
mm-hmm.
right? Like I can completely see you doing that in
Yeah.
that stage of your life and being like super pumped to do it.
Oh, I was pumped because to me, I wanted to be famous. My whole life, I've wanted to be famous.
Okay.
That was my goal.
Okay.
And so this kind of got me closer to famous people.
Yeah.
So I kind of worked that. So when, I would have the crowds, they'd be chanting for like a little tiny stuffed animal. You know what I mean? I'm like, say my name. Chant Tina. I can't hear you. Stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Okay. So what was your next move after that?
Next move. So from Manchester, New Hampshire, I had quit that job.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to Massachusetts again.
Okay.
I moved to Lowell, Massachusetts. I worked at Home Depot.
Okay. I worked there too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice, obviously.
All the cool kids worked at Home Depot.
So worked at Home Depot, and then at Home Depot, I met somebody. I met this girl, and she had 2 kids, and that was fine with me, and we ended up hitting it off really well, and we're together for a long time. Finally, I'd come out to my family, and it
Okay,
wasn't really.
How old were you then?
I was 25.
Okay, so you're still fairly young when you came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was really scary, right? Because
Yeah.
at that time, it wasn't cool to come out
Yeah.
to anybody.
Do you mind talking about that a little bit in depth?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't care. It was so you could imagine the Italian family was wicked strict. They had plans for me, and so I told them, and it was like, what,
So they were
Yeah.
shocked.
They were shocked, kinda.
Right.
My mother knew. She knew. She knows everything. She's like a psychic. I
Yeah.
swear to God. So she knew everything. But just to that,
Yeah.
straight up, I am this way. This is my girlfriend. It was a big thing. So they didn't speak to me for a while. So I'm like, well, at this point, I really have nothing to lose. My family hates me. So I'm just like, I got this girl. I'm gonna move.
Yeah.
She's like, well, my dad says we can, until we get our feet on the ground, we can stay at his house. I'm like, let's go. So we transferred. We were gonna transfer down here, but we ended up getting a job at the Cracker Barrel for a sec.
I did not work there.
Yeah, no, it's not fun. So we moved down here, and within a week, I quit the Cracker Barrel, and within a week, I had a regular job, 40-hour work week. Blah,
Like
blah,
back
blah.
in marketing?
It was more like verification, like on the computer at all
Data
times.
stuff.
Data entry,
Yeah.
you know? But I was used to being up north, so my work ethic, it was a lot different. And they noticed that right away. So I'm over here plugging away, not saying anything to anybody, showing up on time, leaving late, you know, doing that
Yeah.
my thing that I would do up north.
Right.
And down here, they were like,
Who
let's
is
move you
this
up.
person?
Let's move you up. So within like months, I became like in a higher position and then in another higher position, so on and so forth.
Cool.
But after that, Kristen's dad actually got me a job working for a construction company. So I started off as a QA. So I'd go around and QA everything and be putting pieces of blue tape, walking customers through their brand new house, you know, hey, what do
Okay.
we do? And getting our subs to come and fix it.
Yeah.
So they were like, dang, so after like a little bit, they're like, you're doing great. Let's move you to an assistant. So I became an assistant builder. And then a month after that, I became a regular builder because I
Really?
just did really well. It was like my forte.
That is so cool.
I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it. I did that for years.
What do you mind saying what company?
It was DR Horton.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
was it custom homes or was it like
no, triplexes.
communities? Okay,
Yeah,
triplexes.
they were triplexes.
Interesting.
So then like I was loving doing that. You know, no one bothered me. I just had my little crews that
Right.
would do things and
Yeah.
we'd walk through inspections together and you know, I treated them right, they treated me right type
Yeah.
thing. So they would do right for me, I'd do right for them.
That's a great setup.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So you had it wasn't a general contractor's license though,
No.
was it? It was just a builder's?
Just a builder. Yep,
Yeah.
I was a builder.
Yeah.
So basically they gave me that like a thing. I'm like, I want my own community. And
Yeah.
they're like, well, if you could finish this project, because it was like $1 million home at one point, and nobody could get it finished because it was in South St. Pete.
Mm.
And no one wanted to go all the way down there. It was like in Banyan, it was called Banyan Bay.
Yeah.
So I finished this one house. I got it done within like a few months. And they were like, what the? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing to get these people down here? I'm
Right.
like, I don't know. I respect them, I guess.
Yeah. I talk to them. I
Talk to them,
communicate.
yeah, do all the
tell them what's
things.
expected.
Right.
Like when I need it.
Hold them accountable.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
and so they told me if you finish this, you could have your own. I'm like, okay, cool. I finished it. And then they put me on with the guys, the rest of the guys.
So they gave you your crew.
Mm-hmm.
And then from then on, it's from what I can tell, it's more project management. You're
Yeah.
just keeping everything on schedule.
Yep.
They give you the list of things that need to be done, and you're just
I had to write my schedule, who's coming in this day.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I had to keep that schedule.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That is
It was
amazing.
fun.
Yeah.
And then the market crashed
Oh,
in 2008.
yes. Yeah.
So then I had to scramble.
Did the company go under, or they just had to cut way back?
They had to cut way back.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Nobody was building at
yeah,
that
no
point.
one was building. They
Mhm.
built too much or whatever.
Yeah.
They had houses galore.
Right. Inventory was
Yeah,
huge.
you know.
and- yeah.
So they just let a lot of people go,
Yeah.
not just me. So it was.
Did you see it coming at all, or was it like, boom, you're done?
It was. I had never experienced this in my whole life. Just losing a job like that.
Yeah.
I was devastated.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know. I was wicked naive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, when it came to this kind of stuff,
Right,
you know,
I got
so I just didn't expect it. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
So
I have
what
to
did
find
you
a
do?
job.
Yeah.
So luckily I know how to speak Spanish and Italian. So, so that helped me get a job really fast.
Yeah.
So I started working for Bright House,
Okay.
Spectrum.
Yeah.
And, I was just a regular customer service for a while
Mm-hmm.
and then moved up to the kind of like retention type or escalations.
Yeah. Right.
You know, but I did
wanna
both
speak to the
cues, Spanish.
manager.
Yeah, that was your manager.
yeah.
But since my voice is like so monotone, everybody hated me.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm like, is the light on your modem on? It's not. No, it hasn't been on for like weeks. I'm like, all right, well,
Can you
check
check it again.
check the power supply on it. Like, I already did that. I'm like, well, we have to go through the steps. Okay. No, it's not. It's not plugged in. I'm like, well, whose fault is that? So that's the type of
Yeah.
attitude I had. So I didn't really like it too much. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I didn't like that.
That has got to be one of the toughest jobs, though.
Oh.
Like, that's a nightmare.
You could give people 5 years of free service. They're still not happy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then,
And then, so finally that pushed me, right? pushed me to do what I love. Like I had been cutting my own hair, right? Because I couldn't get a regular cut at a barbershop. I'd always feel out of place. They would never go as short as I wanted them
Mm,
to. And I get it, you know what I mean? That's breaking tradition.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like barbering is based off of tradition.
Yeah.
And to go against that is like, dang, like you know what I mean? Like that no women really allowed in here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That reminds me, the little spinning.
The barber pole.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you know where that originated?
Yeah,
Because I think that's a really interesting story.
it is, and that's part of the tradition
Yeah.
that I love. You know what I mean? So what it is back in the day, obviously barbers were dentists.
Mhm.
They did bloodletting. They did a lot of stuff other than just
Right.
So when they would use the bandages on the people, they would obviously wash them out and then hang them up to dry. So when they're drying, some are blood stained, some are not. Some are whiter than others. So once they would put them out to dry, they would twirl.
Yeah.
You know how
Yeah.
yeah. So that twirling created the red and the white.
Yeah.
So that's how the
That's so
original barber
cool.
pole started. But I think now don't make fun of me if this is not it, but I think once it came to America is when the blue came in. So they
Ah,
kind of made
that
it.
makes sense.
But some people say it has to do with the veins and this and that, but I've never read that or heard
yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for going into that.
yeah, no problem. I got you.
All right. So you went to school here. Where'd
Yep.
you go?
I went to Artistic Nail and Beauty Academy.
Okay.
Hmm.
And did you go, I know there's different, like cosmetology and barber. So can you tell us a little bit about what's different, that sets a barber different than like the female
Oh,
side
so
of it?
what's the
I
difference?
hate to
Or the
gender
stylist side of
select,
it.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
So basically the difference between a barber and a stylist is the fact that I can use a straight razor and they can't. But
Okay.
they can do acrylic nails and I can't.
Okay.
So I can do basic manicures and stuff like that, and they can refine a haircut with like
Clippers and yeah,
clippers or a
just no
finishing
straight
tool
razor.
of some sort,
Yeah.
but just not a straight razor. They're not
Okay.
licensed to use it.
Okay. Was that scary to learn?
Um, yeah. It's scary because you could slice someone like really badly.
Yeah.
And I know because I practice on myself. That's how I learned.
Okay.
I would do like the back of my neck with a straight razor
Uh-huh.
and I'd slice myself up a lot.
Yeah.
But I learned what angle
Yeah.
from there. And then I practiced on my leg,
Yeah.
So if you have that passion to do it, you're going to figure it out, regardless of if
Yeah.
learned it or not.
And do people ask for that? Like
For the straight razor?
Yeah, like how often do
Oh,
you use
yeah.
that? They
Every
do.
day.
They do?
Mostly every haircut.
Like
Yeah, I always end my
young
haircuts.
people?
Yeah, everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, they love it.
Do you do that on my hair?
I can do it on your hair if you want.
I'm just
Just
asking.
one time if you want. Every time. I
Why
don't
not?
care.
One time, let's
But
try it.
usually I'll put like a hot foam on the back of the
Okay.
neck, and that's how I'll end the haircut. You know
Okay.
what I mean? Because that's like not many people do that.
Yeah.
So that added touch kind of
Yeah.
brings.
So did you love school?
I loved school.
Yeah.
So I would work 40 hours a week at Bright House, and then
Okay.
at the end of the day, I would leave and go straight to school in Brandon
Whoa.
from St. Pete.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was so dedicated to when when I wouldn't go to school on my days off,
Mhm.
I was like depressed. I love school that much,
Yeah.
Especially barber school.
And how long is barber school?
So it was 1,200 hours.
Okay.
So that's so like a year,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. And then at the end, you get your
Your certification.
license
Mhm.
certification. And then do you have to take another state
State board.
test? Okay, the
Mhm.
state boards.
Yep.
And then is there continuing education with barber or
Not in Florida.
required? Not in Florida.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
There's a to when we renew our license,
Yeah.
there's an HIV test
Okay.
that we have to take about
Yeah.
bloodborne
Yeah.
pathogen, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Little diseases that you can pass on to people from just using your clippers or using.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So yeah, we do have to take that,
Mhm.
but that's it. I mean, other states have continuing education for stylists and cosmos, but not
Okay.
us. So.
I saw on social media somewhere that you're connected to Wall, the clipper brand,
Mhm.
WAHL, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How'd you get involved with them?
So I'm an ambassador for Booksy, which is our booking app.
Yeah.
Right. So when they first started, they would come out and be like, "Hey, we have this booking app." So whatever. Long story short, through them, I met some people
Really?
and we hit it off and stuff like that. But so that gave me an idea of how to do stuff. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting my name out there. Okay,
Mhm.
I have to hashtag this and have at this person and at that person. So I had
Yeah.
to put more work into each post.
Yeah.
So because I did it so much and did it so much, they would go on under those hashtags, and finally they were like, "Oh, cool! This girl seems pretty cool."
Right.
Like they liked my personality, they liked my work,
Yeah.
and I would share their stuff
Mhm.
and support them.
Mhm.
So they're like, "Hey, we want you to join our team," so on and so forth. So they had a specific team that we were supposed to be on, and that's how we started. So now, we keep doing stuff and
Yeah.
represent them
That's
and
really cool.
on stage and whatnot.
Yeah. So, my first experience with you, I heard your name
Mhm.
from my friend Erin Boone,
Yes.
and she would say, "I'm going to see Tia Sapia,
Yeah.
Tina Sapia," like hilarious. And the other place I heard your name was from another friend of mine that you were cutting her son's hair, who is neurodiverse. He has autism, and she said that how great you were with him. And I was like, "All right, I gotta go check this girl out." So I gotta tell you, I was really intimidated the first time, like, as a woman walking into a barber shop,
Mhm.
definitely. And my hair was a little bit longer then. And, you walk into this, it's like an established tribe in your place, like everybody's positive and having a good time and, maybe ripping on each other a little bit, but all
Mhm.
in fun. And it just had such a warm environment coupled with like the coolest decor too,
Thank you.
the subway tile and the everybody has their own little not little like pretty large vanities that are painted black and everybody's got their own little setups and it was just like old school but not. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I mean, yes, you know what I mean cuz you
Yes.
so was that all your design?
Yes.
Okay.
Um, a few people, gave me a few ideas here and there and stuff like that, but I wanted it to feel like all because, like, my experience in a barbershop was less than
Yeah.
always, you know what
Mm.
I'm saying? It was
Like
so
you
what
felt less than?
Yeah,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, when I wanted to feel that camaraderie, that
Yes.
banter, that "brotherhood," quote, unquote.
Yeah.
So, I made it a point, like, while I was building it, I'm like, "You know what? When people are gonna come in here, they're gonna feel automatically like family, they're gonna
Yeah.
wanna come in here, people are gonna want to work in here, it's gonna be fun for everybody, you could, like, have a conversation with the guy across from me if you want."
Right.
That's the vibe that I want.
Yeah. I love it.
From the beginning,
Yeah.
that's what I said to
Yeah.
everybody, and I said, "If it's not like that, I don't want it."
Right.
And so they kept it that way, but thank God I have great people working in there.
Yeah,
They're
definitely.
all amazing
They
people.
are. They are
Yeah.
so friendly and welcoming. But you didn't start out of the gate, out of barber school with your own place. Tell me, sorry, I kind of jumped ahead.
No, it's cool.
Um, Walk me through your first job coming out of barber school.
So, coming out of barber school, I really had no idea what it was like to work in a barbershop, obviously. So,
Right.
I had this guy at, Bright House, he was my boss, one of the bosses, and he saw me just so dedicated to being a barber. He's like, "You know what? I'm gonna hook you up with this guy. He owns a barbershop." I go to him, I've known him forever. I'm like, "All right, cool." So, I went after school, and he's like, "All right, you have a job with us. As soon as you're done school, you could work." I'm like, "Oh my god, this is amazing."
Yeah.
Like, I'm a real barbershop, I'm gonna
Yeah.
work, and it was, like, mostly, well, it was all dudes,
Yeah.
mostly black people,
Hmm.
which was my fit because that's how I grew up,
Mm.
that's where I felt comfortable.
Yeah.
That's how I chose my school too. So
It's
I'm like,
awesome.
"This is great. This is
Yeah.
right up my alley, like, I love this." So I went there and he's like, he knew my background as customer service, so he kinda put me up here compared to everybody else.
Mm.
"You're gonna be in charge." I'm like, "What?
Wow.
I just came here. What
Yeah.
do you mean I'm gonna be in charge? You're gonna be in charge of this one, blah, blah. You're the manager, so on and so forth." I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever."
Right.
He put me in the front seat, which usually barbershop tradition, the front seat is reserved for the person that's the best. You know what I mean? That's
Really?
been there the longest, the
Yeah.
ride or die, you know what I mean? You're the one that people see first. But I had just got out of school. I was in the first chair. So
Wow.
nobody trusts the person that's the new person. That's
Yeah.
just how it is.
Yeah.
You accept that. So I'm over here trying every single person. I'm like, you ready? You ready? You ready? They're like, nah, nah. I'm like, oh man. I found
But
myself
I got the
sitting.
first chair.
I'm sitting all day,
Oh.
basically. I started getting nervous. You know, I was part-time at the shop. So and then full-time at Bright House.
Yeah.
So he's like, Tina, you have to quit your other job. I'm like, but this is how I make my money.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? I'm the only one supporting me, right?
Mhm.
Because I moved to Florida. Remember,
Right.
I can't look back. I can't ask for help from
Mhm.
anybody.
Right.
So I'm like, I have to make at least $120 a day, no matter what. So I got there wicked early, stayed late, you know, at least $120. And this is like $15 a haircut or $10 a
Right.
haircut. It's
Yeah.
not 35 like it
Right.
is now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I'm doing it. I'm like, I would go out with cards, my clip is in my car. I would cut anybody's hair that I could. I would get up at 1 a.m. If someone called me, hey, I need a cut. Come over. Let's do this. So I'd cut up so I could make the money
Yeah.
to work every
Yeah.
week. So I did that for a while. I sweated it out for a long time. And plus since he wanted me to be the manager, he
Yeah.
would move me to his new location. So I worked at the main location for like 4 or 5 months,
Mhm.
started building up a little bit, and then he moved me.
Oh, man.
So then I had to start over.
Yeah.
So I went to Tarpon Springs too, and Tarpon Springs is more families. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of people that like to get their hair cut every week. They're
Right.
more like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so I built there little by little. I'm just like, I gotta do this. I have no choice. So finally did that. And then I worked with this kid. And he's like, what's wrong with your car? Because I had a piece of junk car.
Yeah.
And he's like, why don't you just buy a new one, bro? I'm
Yeah.
like, if I could, don't you think I would buy
Right.
a new one? Like, I have no money
Yeah.
at all. My money goes to bills. He's like, dang, and you're how old? I'm like,
Oh,
wow, you
ouch.
call me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I took that as like a strength, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I turned that around.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? He's right. He's not wrong. He's 21 years old, doing better than I am. And what am I doing with my life? So I stopped. I stopped everything. I went on a diet. I freaking saved money. I stopped smoking cigarettes. I stopped drinking. And I was saving money left and right. You know what I mean? So all the money I made, I was able to do this and do that and save.
Wow.
So little by little, I'm like, okay, this is great. So my mind frame was changing now.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he goes, Tina, I built another shop in Clearwater. You're gonna man that one. I'm like,
Mm.
but thankfully, at this point in time, my cousin's was like, I'm not going to anyone else. I finally found you.
Yeah.
So I'll follow you wherever. So I had a good handful of people. And but at that point in time, I got to be myself now. You know what I mean? I had the hang of it. I knew I could cut a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I was a little more outgoing. He wasn't down my,
Yeah.
you know, I had this place to myself. So I raised it as if it was my shop.
Mm.
I did whatever I needed to for it. And that's where it went. From there, I just did all that. And then finally, so I took him from signing in on a piece of paper
Mhm.
to him being like, you have to control what everyone's doing. Now I want $2 a head on top of the $200 a week that you guys are giving me. So every head you do, I want $2 from it. So I had to count everyone's pockets, basically. That's what he made me do.
Mm.
So at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, this person did this much, and we're all upset. Like we went
Yeah.
from paying, two of us, we did the most out of anybody.
Mhm.
We went from paying $800 a month
Mhm.
to $1,600 to $1,800 a month
Whoa.
because of the $2 a head.
That's rent.
That's commission and rent. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a second,
Yeah.
16 to 18, I could have a place on my own.
Exactly.
I don't need a place.
Right.
So I finally was like, that's it. I said to the guys, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get a place. I don't know if you guys want to come or not. I'm not gonna tell you to come. I don't. Like, we're coming. We
Mhm.
don't want to do this because we already approached him.
Yeah.
with a solution
Yeah.
because we're unhappy. He said no. So like, okay. Gave myself 2 months to build my shop.
Yep.
And in 2 months, literally, because of my background of being a builder,
Yes.
I was able to keep my schedule
Mm-hmm.
down to the inspection.
Right.
So to the T, I had that thing done in 2 months. And I had the 2 months for free, right? Because that was under my contract.
Yep.
So I didn't have to pay rent by myself. So finally, I'm like, all right, guys, it's go time. So
Yeah.
they're like, let's go. So we left. We left, and he doesn't like us to this day, but I
Yeah.
still try to talk to him,
Yeah.
you know?
So how long ago was that?
That was 6 years ago. It's
Okay.
gonna be 7 years in August.
And is that the same location on Sunset
Sunset and
in
Highlands.
Highland?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Sunset and Highland. Never looked back. Then a year after I built my barber shop, I built the salon.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Angela works.
Mm-hmm. Wife?
No, Angela's my friend. We worked together
Okay.
at one point when
Okay.
I built it.
Okay.
Well, we built it together
Yeah.
for her.
Okay.
But no, we're like sisters now.
Okay.
We're
Gotcha.
family.
Gotcha.
Straight up.
Okay. And then let's talk about your social media.
Mm-hmm. What about it? I don't know. I just so
First of all, can I ask how old you are?
I'm 47.
Okay, I am 47 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it blows me away that like you're so like TikTok is I can't like it cracks me up, but I have not figured out how to do it.
Okay,
But you have over 50,000 followers. I checked today.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is you're a barber.
Yeah. It's crazy, right?
But you're this huge personality that like is hilarious and great and kind and positive and all the things that draws people to, who are looking for that, I should say.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know. I don't know how it all happened. It was the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And I was so stressed out. I needed an outlet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was it. I was like doing like no real dances, maybe a few,
Yeah.
but not all. But it was more funny. I was like,
Yeah.
I found it like hilarious. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, these people are like putting themselves. I'm like, why not? Let me
Right,
try.
Yeah.
So, so I started doing it every day, and little things that I think about, I'm like, this is so weird, but nobody ever talks about it.
Yeah.
So I'm just being real genuine on
Yeah.
my videos, and people are starting to like that. You know what I mean? So they were few here, few here. I'm like, oh my God, I have 100 more.
Yeah.
I'm up to 800 people
Right.
following me, and I thought that was like so dope. I'm like,
Yeah.
800 people are following me. What? I know it sounds cheesy, but
No,
like
it's
it
true.
was
I get
funny.
it.
It was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
It passed the time in
Yeah.
a stressful time,
Mm.
right? So I kept doing it. Once I got back to the shop after when we were allowed to go back, right? I did this one TikTok, and it was like Eminem and the Bee Gees doing "Staying Alive," and then Eminem. It was like a mix,
Yeah.
right? And I just zoomed in on my logo and then turned it around, and I was like, I had my hair all done with my glasses
Yeah.
on, and it was just me. This looks like a job for me, and I just walk into my own barbershop, and I'm like just dancing. I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
go like this, waving my hand. Let's go, you know.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that blew up. And that day, I just ding, ding, ding. Like, I'm like, what is going on my phone right now?
Right.
Someone needs to get a hold of me.
Yeah.
And I looked at it. I'm like, dang, it's TikTok. It's like thousands, like comments and likes and followers and all this stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, what happened?
Yeah. You got famous.
I don't know. Well, yeah, TikTok famous, right?
Yeah.
Which is fun. I do it
Yeah.
as a pastime.
Yeah.
But it was cool because I got to sell stuff in my time of need.
Right.
I got to sell products, hats, and so I started like developing more like cool stuff to wear, stickers,
Yeah.
this, that, so I could send them out, like air fresheners, this and that.
Right. I mean, the brand is great. The logo is great. I love it. I
Thank
love
you.
it. So that all came about in that time, or was the logo created before then?
The logo was created in Tarpon when I moved to the
Okay.
Tarpon shop.
Yeah.
I was just so bored because I wasn't doing anything. I
Yeah.
just kept drawing. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna build my own shop one day.
Yeah.
And I kept doing the logo because I like to draw.
Okay.
So I'm like, one day I just was drawing my same picture, was going to draw the face in, and I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, this looks kind of cool. Just the glasses and my forehead
Yeah.
with my hair, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, this looks kind of cool. So I threw it out to Facebook. like, "Hey, who can make this into like a digital image
Right,
for me?"
vector or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. So one of my homeboys from high school, like one of the quote unquote nerdy dudes,
Yeah,
right?
right.
He used to love to draw. People made fun of him, but I never did, and we would always sit next to each other because our last names were the same or close.
You're right.
So so I was friends with him,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Yo, I got you." I'm like, "No way!" And he was a tattoo artist.
Oh,
So he turned it into like this thing
yeah.
and blah blah. He's since passed away, which is like means even more
Goodness,
to me
yes.
now. But
Yes.
like it's just so crazy how everything just pans out. Like I'm a huge believer in God, so
Yeah,
I do everything through that.
yeah,
You know, if I have the chance to give to somebody, I
right.
will, with no hesitation.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean, you definitely personify God. You're so kind. You're passionate about what you do, and
thank you.
what I see is that you are just trying to become the best version of you always, and along the way, lifting people up.
I try to do that,
Well,
but
that's what
there
I
are times
see.
where I'm like, obviously I'm not perfect.
Right.
Nobody is,
No,
but
right.
like I do have my downfalls. I
Yeah.
really do. But when I do have the chance to do that and to be better or
Yeah.
to become better, my faults are nearly as I don't have as much
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
that I used to.
Yeah.
I've worked on a lot of stuff. There's more to go, but I do try my best every day.
Well, it's easy to see why people love you and follow you, and you're entertaining and great.
Thank you.
And I want to talk about one last thing before we kind of close up,
Okay.
and it was my first haircut with you
Uh-oh.
when I was very nervous to
Oh
come
yeah.
in there.
Mhm.
And I will never forget what you said to me at the very end. And you went in slow, and you kept asking me questions throughout and kept checking, is this okay? Is this
Mhm.
okay? Which is great because we had no relationship,
Right.
and I'm a first time with you. So I appreciated you going very slow. But the last thing you said to me after I paid was thank you for trusting me.
Mhm.
And I thought, wow. Like, you are the professional, you're the master barber, you cut people's hair all day, every day, but you took the time and you realized the importance of that's important.
It is.
It's
Mhm.
important for your customers to trust you and have that communication. So that was awesome. I just wanted you to know that was really awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate you noticing that because a lot of people feel their hair is their thing,
Yeah,
and if they don't have long hair, then that's not feminine.
right.
It's not, and I know how that feels,
Hmm.
right? Um, so when I have a woman sit in my chair, or not just a woman, I'm saying anybody,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Men, women, whoever you are, it's huge because that's what gives you your confidence a lot of the
Mm,
times.
definitely.
And I'm in the business of giving confidence.
Yeah.
You know what
You
I'm
you
saying?
are absolutely.
So if I'm not checking in with you, hey, is this good? Is this like, do you want it shorter? I can always cut more hair off, right?
Right.
I can't put it back on.
Yeah.
We haven't gone there yet. So, but I think it's huge that people trust me
Yeah.
because out of millions of barbers around this area alone,
Mhm.
they come to me
Yeah.
every week, every 2 weeks. I've had people every week for the past 10 years on the same day come to me.
Yeah, I've seen those videos
Yeah.
recently. Those
So
are
that's what I'm
awesome.
doing. I'm trying to
Yeah.
showcase my people that made me
Yeah.
basically who I am, that trust me weekly,
Yeah.
to get them straight, to make
Mhm.
them look professional. Hey, I'm going to a wedding. Hey, I'm going to a court.
Yeah.
I'm going to an interview. You're counting on me to make you look
Your
your
best. Yeah.
best, professional, whatever it may be. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
And I take that seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
That's
love it.
not just a
Yeah.
whatever.
I love it. I love it. All right. How can people contact you? What's the best way? Or how can they follow you? Go ahead and spout out all your social stuff.
Okay. So on Instagram and TikTok, I'm Sapia the Barber. That's Sapia the Barber. And on Facebook, it's Tina Sapia Barber. And
Beautiful.
through that, they can book me or call me or do whatever.
Okay. And then for haircuts, Booksy is the best app.
Yeah, it's
Um,
Booksy, and for me, it's Sapia's Barbershop.booksy.com.
okay. Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having
This
me.
has
I love
been
it.
awesome. And I need a haircut, so I'm going to be booking soon.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks, Tina.
Anytime. Thank you.